continuing with the 24-hour live stream marathon, 5 hours on, followed by a break, followed by 5 hours on, followed by another break. This is our third 5 hours on. So I hope everybody is doing well. Thank you so much for everybody who's been here thus far. I hope you're having a great morning. It is 7:30 a.m. here. Started a little bit late, took a little bit of a longer break than previously planned, but that's okay. I'm here now. So far, we have talked about the moderns and the ancients, the great feud, which I still plan to talk about a little bit more, because I got about halfway through, and my trip to Bogota, Colombia. But as always, the first hour in, I just hang out and wait to see who wants to join, and we go from there. So let's see who wants to jump in the chat and say hello. Also, to everybody who celebrated or who just noted it, happy winter solstice, which was yesterday. One thing I talked about when I was in Bogota, Colombia, is the Grand Lodge of Colombia had a winter solstice celebration, which was really, really cool to see. All right, let's give it a few minutes. Let's see who joins. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are well on our way to we are well on our way to 4,000 watch hours in the last 12 months, as well as 10,000 lifetime watch hours, both of which is incredibly cool and is thanks to all of you, my audience. So thank you so much for that. All right, let's give it a bit of time and let's see who joins. And any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? Well, in terms of lifetime, what have actually made it? Thank you, Laya Life. When I say made it, let me just do a quick check. Oops. Yes, we did it. Over 10,000 watch time hours, lifetime. So what an honor it is. 10.1, in fact. Let me see if I can show this to you. Hold on just one sec. 10.1K lifetime hours. And then in the last 365 days or 12 months, I am getting very close to my 4,000 watch hours in the last year, which means I'm eligible for ad revenue, which is another very important step in my goal to make my passion for Freemasonry into a profession. Jody, what is no good? Jody York. Max Ashton, hello. Well, thank you for calling me a cutie. I appreciate that. If you do think I'm a cutie, what you should do is hit the like and subscribe button, and that would be a great honor. Zen on harmonics, same thing. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button. And Babel memes, all of my watch hour, all of my, the fact that I have these watch times, these watch hours, all of that is thanks, amongst other things, to people such as you. So thank you so much. What is up, Shazad? Thank you for being here. I hope that you're doing well. Take a moment, Shazad, if you're not done so before, to hit that like and subscribe button if you're new. Well, I'm a Rose Croix Freemason. I'm a Rose Croix Scottish Rite Mason, I should say. But it's good. Rose Croix and Freemasonry have a lot of overlap, a lot of things in common. It really depends on where you're at and the jurisdiction you're in. I cannot recite the Holy Book Quran because I don't know much about the Holy Book Quran. I know a lot about, I know about my experiences with Muslim individuals, and they're good people and they're good dudes, but I'm trying to learn more about the Quran, to be honest. It's actually something I want to study a little bit, um, and learn more about. I do not play Roblox, Julie Shaw. Alicia Seeds, I will take it. That's incredibly kind of you. I guess I do look. I mean, I've been told mostly on stream how ugly I am. So the fact that you're saying I look like Matt Damon, I will take it. I mean, I think all beliefs can be wild, especially if you're on the outside looking in. And Max Ashton, we are not controlling the world, nor are we controlling propaganda. I can't even control people to hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you, Julie Shaw. Believe me, if you're on YouTube and you're live streaming, people will call you ugly. I've grown to accept it, or they'll call me ugly. Um, so I am a Scottish Rite Freemason, lovely auto race. Yes, which is an appendant body within Freemasonry. What matters most is just I'm a Freemason. Whether you're Scottish Rite, York Rite, Emulation, Preston Webb, AF and AM, F and AM, all those things, it doesn't matter as much. What matters is you hit the like and subscribe button. JC, I will put the fries in the bag if you hit the like and subscribe button. Average, I've been a Freemason since 2007 and I'm proud of it. Almost 20 years. What do I want for Christmas? I want people to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share the stream with others. And that would make me more than happy enough. I'm currently at 3,110 subscribers. It's incredible, but when a few months ago, when I started this, I remember saying, that I really hoped that I would get 3,000 subs by the end of the year. And I'm at 3,110 subs. Oh, the old question about what degree am I? So the degree that matters is, well, every degree matters. I shouldn't say that. But the most important degree, the highest degree in Freemasonry is the third degree. And I am a third degree Master Mason. And then on top of that, I also am Scottish Rite 18th degree. Fun facts about me. Well, my favorite movie is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 and 5. Those are kind of fun facts. I live in Windsor, and I've been a Freemason for 20 years. Third degree is not low, Jello Donut. My suspicion is you're not a Freemason, or if you are, you've been fed false information. Third degree is actually the highest rank or the highest degree within Freemasonry. After that, it's appendant bodies, which is not the same thing as, a 33rd degree is not a higher degree than a third degree. It's not how it works. Third degree is the highest degree in Freemasonry. Hello, Darkness Knight. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hit that like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. From Antarctica, that's amazing. That's incredible. Sorry, Jello, a donut. Clearly someone has got what I call internet brain, where you don't know about Freemasonry, but you've been learning about it from false information or incorrect information online. But any true Mason will tell you that when you have appendant bodies, that's fine. Scottish Rite or York Rite, and yes, in Scottish Rite, for example, you can go up to 33rd degree. In Memphis, Mizraim, you can go even higher, but that doesn't mean that you're quote-unquote a higher ranking Mason than a third degree Master Mason. I am not AI, chocolate face, at least I don't think so. But then again, maybe I'm an AI who was programmed to not know it's an AI, which would be possible, I suppose, based on a lot of science fiction I've seen. Welcome from Malta. Thank you for being here. Ice core researcher. That is really cool. What type of work is that? Like, I would be fascinated by being an ice core researcher. Um, I'm not even sure, like, I would love to know more about that job. Um, well, sorry, Jello. Someone's been spending way too much time on the social media. I am part of Blue Lodge or Craft Lodge. I'm third degree. I've even got my dues cards on me. But you can choose to believe me or not. That's okay. Um, NBR, I don't know what that is. Freemason is demonic. Freemasonry is not demonic. Noah, I'm going to assume he is until I'm told otherwise because it's too interesting and too cool to not believe. Um, of all the things people can or, believe or not believe, I would choose to believe someone is an ice core researcher. I don't know what it means, all lodges at public. I mean, I'm a member of 5 Masonic lodges, 3 in Ontario, 3 in Windsor, actually, and then 1 in Israel and 1 in Texas, 1 in Tejas. Um, well, that's cool. Once again, I'm going to assume you are an ice core researcher, and I think that's awesome. I actually knew somebody once who spent, oh my gosh, they were actually research scientists. I met them on a Masonic meeting. It was actually a virtual meeting. It was during COVID when we couldn't meet in person and lodges were holding these virtual get-togethers. He was a member of a lodge and he had spent, this was like well, during COVID, so 3, 4 years ago. Um, it was really, really cool. All right, well, thank you for stopping by, Jello Donut. I did not take a blood oath and I did not commit high treason. In fact, we in Freemasonry, one of the first things we are taught or instructed upon, or pick your term, and this is true since the Anderson constitutions and even the Regius poem, is to be a good citizen, peaceable and respectful of either the country which is our home or the country to which we are traveling. You don't have to listen to this guy yapping, Iron Prophet. You realize you can go wherever you want. No one's forcing you to be here. But if you are going to be here, I'd hope you hit the like and subscribe button, which would be very kind of you. But you do you. This is part of my winter solstice 24-hour stream. I did a 5-hour stream, took a break, another 5-hour stream, took a break, and now I'm back once again. So, sorry, Doc. I think you might be another one who has spent way too much time following conspiracy theories on YouTube and Twitter. I've been a Freemason for 20 years. I both took part in my own third degree and have witnessed probably dozens of third degrees. Never seen a blood oath, never seen anything that would indicate treason. In fact, we within Freemasonry, as I said, are taught to be respectful of the laws and the country to which we belong. M3, my day is good. My day is going well. I'm here, I'm streaming. I got 3,110 subscribers, and I'm well on the way to 4,000 watch hours in the last 12 months. Well, your research has been, good sir, baloney. I'm very sorry to say. I still appreciate you being here, but you're incorrect. Rolando, usually when people say they have a question, it ends up being a funny question, if you will, but ask away. Well, yes, that's a kind of funny. First, I don't know why the two are connected, but I also don't take a blood oath, so I did not commit high treason. Having said that, I don't necessarily know why a blood oath would or wouldn't. I mean, first of all, there's no blood oath. I've never taken a blood oath in Freemasonry. Second of all, Freemasons are taught to be respectful of the countries to which they live, and are citizens, and to be good citizens. I don't know if I believe you or not. I'm saying a lot of people on stream will make stuff up. Having said that, I believe you're an ice researcher. Why not? It costs me nothing to believe you're an ice researcher. Now, if you ask me to send you money to like get you out of Antarctica, then I would have my doubts. But cool. I mean, I find it very interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 3217 or yay, yay, yay. 3217 says, hey, hey, yay, yay, yay. Um, RKR, what is masonry? So masonry is stone masonry, building things out of stone. Freemasonry is a social club that dates back to really the Middle Ages, 15th, 16th century. Think of it as a social club or a civic organization. Um, how many times have you guys been debunked? I mean, I don't know how many times we've been debunked, but we've been around for over 300 years. So clearly, we've not been debunked, quote unquote, sufficiently for us to, not to exist. Um, well, you take an obligation in all of the degrees. Um, You could say it's before you become a Freemason. It's during your initiation. I suppose technically it is the case that you're not officially a Mason until after you take the obligation. Um, would it make a difference if I did or didn't William Bagnoff? Freemasonry welcomes men of who are gay or straight. That is not an issue when it comes to whether or not one can be a Freemason. Please, if you're just joining us, take a moment to hit the like button and the subscribe button. And thank you for being here. I don't know what chopped as hell means, but it doesn't sound friendly. It sounds vaguely unkind for some reason. I don't know what a straight flag is. Okay, well, now I don't believe you anymore that you've been to Antarctica because the world is not flat. The world is a sphere. Kim Wilson. Would it matter if I was? I can tell you this, it wouldn't matter to Freemasonry, which does not discriminate based on sexual orientation. What I am is neither gay nor straight. What I am is very handsome. This face, very, very handsome. You are welcome, RK. Like I said, I hope you'll consider liking, subscribing, sharing the chat, sharing the stream, excuse me, all that good jazz. Well, unfortunately, sometimes when you're on YouTube, common sense is not that common, which is unfortunate, but is very often the case. I'm not laying, nor am I lying. I've been a Freemason since 2007. My mother lodge is Windsor Lodge, number 403, out of Windsor, Ontario, Grand Lodge of Canada, in the province of Ontario, numbered 403 on the Grand Registry. Freemasons do not believe, well, I mean, I'm sure there are, honestly. There's 850,000 Freemasons in the United States. I'm sure that therefore they represent some very interesting ideas. And I'm sure some of them believe the earth is flat. However, I'm here to tell you the earth is not flat. The earth is a sphere. I am comfortable letting the people know. You're not handsome. So not only am I lying, I'm not even handsome. Geez Louise. Can't get anything. Special needs news says Persian version. That rhymes. Well, what I need for you to do is hit the like and subscribe button. This stream is to talk about Freemasonry, really my own experiences with being a Freemason, why I love it, and to promote the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located, as well as turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession. Wow, I got the dislike. Fair enough. You are welcome to like or dislike. It's up to you. Barely a 3. Jeez, that's low. A Freemason is a member of a Masonic lodge, a member of a civic group or a club known as Freemasonry that has been around for about 300 years, over 300 years, and evolved from stonemason guilds of the Middle Ages. Well, RK, I mean, I think it depends. It's not viewed negatively in the general public, but when you're on social media, that's when you take the risk of having way more people view things negatively because that's the nature of social media, unfortunately. Things that are more negative, conspiratorial, lies, they have a tendency to spread very quickly. I don't think Freemasonry outside of the internet is actually viewed as negatively as YouTube would seem. Um, I do this, or I try to do this, so consider giving me a super chat, a like, a sub. I know I got big gap in my teeth, angry man, but you should not be so angry that you cannot hit the like button and the subscribe button. Who defines a lie? Well, that's a good question. I mean, sometimes the facts kind of define it for you. Like if I say I'm a Freemason and somebody else says I'm lying, then they kind of, it's just the facts and the dues card, and that's defined based on reality. Or if the earth is round or flat, the experiments define whether it's a lie or not. When it comes to things like whether Freemasonry is a force for good in the world or not, I suppose that's more, I suppose it's more like, it's less about truth and lies, more about opinions. But I can tell you based on my experience, my opinion is Freemasonry makes the world a better place. Hello, Adam Levi. Well, the topic, as always, is Freemasonry. I am going to keep on talking more about the ancients and the moderns, the great fight, the great divide in Freemasonry between the two groups from approximately 1751 to 1813. I was reading a paper entitled The Moderns and the Ancients Revisited, which was written by Aubrey Newman. It's available online. Well, I mean, it's not that Freemasonry is better for the world. Well, I mean, I guess it is. How would I put it? The world is a better place when Freemasonry is in it. And there's a lot of different ways that Freemasonry makes the world a better place. I mean, the obvious, I'm a fan of Alan Watts. The obvious kind of, and the first answer that almost anybody could say or would think of would be the charitable endeavors of the Freemasons. And that's, the charitable Masonic Foundation out of United Kingdom to charitable groups around the world that are Masonic affiliated to, when there's some type of natural crisis, like when Los Angeles had the fires, when Texas had the floods. Masons stepped up, collected donations. They used their buildings as drop-off sites for supplies. In some cases, they let their buildings be used as emergency shelters for those fleeing from the fires. So there's the obvious charitable benefits. But Freemasonry also, in many instances, acts as a way to protect the government, as a way to protect individuals from needing government assistance. I've known 3 Freemasons who would have been homeless. And in one of those cases, they had a family, they had a wife and kids. So the wife and kid would have been homeless as well, were it not for Freemasonry stepping in and assisting them with what's known as benevolence. Um, and that doesn't just help the Masons, right? That helps the whole community because by making sure somebody who would otherwise be homeless is given um, is given the ability to remain in their home. Like if somebody becomes homeless, the entire community is now dealing with it. They need shelter spaces, food banks, medicine, doctors. You're more likely to need the emergency room. All these type of community resources that get used by someone who's homeless, where if we as Freemasons, can step in, provide a social safety net, provide support, and in doing so, keep them from being homeless, the whole community benefits from it, and resources are saved for others who might need them more. It's part of the safety net, right? It also helps people remain healthy, which again, because all the evidence shows that being lonely makes people more susceptible to disease, to sickness, which again, if people are sick, if people have diseases, they are, as a consequence, going to be less able practically to, contribute to society. And then there's the economic benefits. We as Freemasons have banquets, events, celebrations, dinners, all of which requires catering, requires us to use resources, requires us to spend money in the community, as well as special events. Like I did a ice cream tasting once at my Masonic Lodge. We purchased ice cream from a local ice cream shop that was new. By doing so, we help support a local business. So those are just, I forget who asked the question now, but those are just some of the ways that Freemasonry makes the world a better place. You don't have to pay to be, well, I mean, there are dues to be a Freemason, Florida, but the dues are the least important part of it. There are a lot of Masons who, if they're struggling financially, may not pay their dues and have the dues forgiven, commuted, payment plan, pick your term. Um, well, there's always a point to socializing. Human nature is such that people want to socialize, right? When Aristotle said man is a political animal, he meant it's in our nature to want to form groups and socialize. What I would say though is if you feel like you're in a hostile environment, Tom, then I mean, I would ask, what is it that makes the environment hostile? And like, is it hostile in like a criminal sense? Are you worried for your safety? Do you just feel as though you're being kind of othered, if that's the right term? Hostility, if there's a lot of hostility around you, then I would say maybe talk to somebody about where it's coming from. We don't have all the money or power. We don't even have most of the money or power. Freemasonry, it does not have money or power. Anybody who promises you that by, um, joining Freemasonry, you will get money or power is scamming you. I mean, Walmart could be a local business, but I don't really think that's what I'm referring to when I say local business. I tend to mean, smaller shops, artisan shops. I took a lot of pride throughout my time as a Freemason especially when I was junior warden, as supporting local businesses, not part of chains, but for example, a local soda pop shop, a local ice cream shop. All of it were like, small businesses owned by families or individuals, not by corporations. Um, I mean, I would say though that we in Freemasonry very often use the resources we have in a variety of ways, not just financial, but our time, our interests, our energy to support the local community. Tyler S., I think you're talking about me. I don't know what you mean by another liberal complaining about nothing that matters in real life. I don't think I'm complaining, but I would say, I'm talking about something that does matter. At least whether it matters in real life or not, I guess it's up to you to decide. But what I will say is it matters to me. And if it matters to me, then I get to talk about it on YouTube. That's the great thing about social media. If I love something, I can talk about it on social media. And you don't have to listen to me, but I can still talk about it. How do I feel about capitalism? I like it. As a general rule, I think capitalism is the best way, is the best system to ascertain and assess value, especially when the economy is big enough. It's really the exclusive way to, at least in an efficient manner, ascertain value. Um, like everything, though, it's complicated. I don't think any society or any system can function fully as a capitalist system. But by the same token, I don't think any system can function fully as a socialist system. I think you need a mix of both, right? The fire department, I don't think would work as a capitalist system, or garbage disposal. When it comes to creation of cars or vehicles, I don't think you want a socialist system for that. Um, it should be true free market. I mean, I speak exclusively for myself. My opinions are my own. They don't reflect Freemasonry. I don't know what true free market means, but I would not want firefighting or police services in a true free market, that's for sure. Some things need to be spread out over society because everybody benefits from it. Um, I mean, I think there's an argument to be made for it, Tyler, when it comes to reparations. I'm not saying I agree with it or don't, because I think there's some complicated elements to it, but I'm not going to say I don't see the argument. Um, Not corporatism. I mean, corporatism can be an issue, and oftentimes, at least historically, um, free markets, capitalism, if left unchecked, can kind of devolve into corporatism if you're not careful. Um, Free market, by the way, Dragon Slayer, Tyler, Mr. Works, please hit like and subscribe. Um, I mean, the key term there, free market, is even playing field for small businesses. Once the business becomes not sufficiently small, um, there becomes an issue then in terms of how much a free market will actually work. Well, thank you, Mr. Works, and thank you to everybody who's been here. We are well on our way to, actually, we've surpassed 10,000 lifetime watch hours, and we are well on our way to 4,000 watch hours in the last 365 days, which is the ability to monetize advertisements. So by showing ads on videos. Tyler, sorry for, I mean, you can start any conversations you want. It's one of those things where if you don't want to start a conversation, it kind of be a very boring stream, that's for sure. So I do appreciate you being here very much. Um, like I said, all of these type of questions, they're complicated and they're questions that everybody grapples with, whether you be a Freemason or otherwise, right? I've said it a million times, so I don't want to you know, chew my food twice, but you cannot separate the success, or sorry, you cannot separate the condition of a Masonic lodge from the conditions within of the country or city or community in which it's located. whether those conditions be um, social, political, economic, or anywhere in between. And let's give it a bit more time. Take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, please let me know. Well, so the Freemasonry, well, free market is a economic system or an economic idea. It's not related to Freemasonry any more than like any other economic or, political ideology is related to Freemasonry. My point is, though, the condition of Freemasonry in a community is going to be, at least to a certain extent, dependent on the economic conditions in that community. If you have a community that is economically depressed, that let's say businesses are leaving it, or jobs are leaving, or the population is declining because the community is struggling economically, by the same token and as the same consequence, Freemasonry is going to struggle as well. We're part of the community, and being part of the community, what that means is the economic condition, as well as the political condition, the social conditions of the community all matter. Sometimes there's this idea within Freemasonry that people will say something to the effect of, we as Freemasons shouldn't concern ourselves with kind of we shouldn't think about what's happening politically in a community. We shouldn't take sides. We shouldn't have political opinions, but we should pay attention to what's happening and know what's happening, whether it be political, economic, or anything in between, because if that's going to affect what's happening within our lodges. We should know, for example, if a major industry is planning to move into our city or move out of our city, because that should affect the likelihood of being able to get new members or potentially lose membership. No, Freemasonry is not an occultic club. I've never actually heard the term occultic, but it's not a cult, nor is it occult, unless you if you define occult simply as meaning hidden, quote unquote, then you could argue Freemasonry is occult. But by that token, so would be your bank account, right? Occult just meant hidden. What Freemasonry is a civic club. It's a social organization, like the Elks, the Moose, the Rotary, all that jazz. I am looking at a movie. I've got a movie playing right now. It's a scary movie. While I'm doing this, I need something in the background to, I can't just stare at the camera all the time. It would look weird if the entire time is me doing this. But I don't have a script. I do have up here also my paper, The Moderns and the Ancients. It's not my paper. It's paper I was reading from, learning, or talking to the audience about the great feud that exists within Freemasonry between the Moderns and the Ancients, which are two groups within Freemasonry that existed between approximately 1751 and 1813. Well, ask some questions, Dragon Slayer. I'll do my best to answer them. I don't pretend to know everything. I've been a Mason for 20 years. Well, I'm not an expert on anything, I'm not an expert on anything. I am at least an expert on, or let me rephrase. Well, I'm not an expert on everything. I'm at least an expert on my own experiences within Freemasonry and my own experiences within the craft. So you can take that for whatever it's worth. I've been a Freemason since 2007, so almost 20 years. about to have a drive to work. First of all, be safe when you're driving to work. Curious in general. I mean, the most general answer one can give is Freemasonry is a civic or community organization or a club, maybe a more formalized club, but still a club, and has existed since for at least 300 and something years. The first Grand Lodge being formed in 1717. I am doing well, doppelganger. That looks like me. Well, now this is like Trotsky and the double. If you're going to steal my face, doppelganger, you can at least hit the like button and the subscribe button. Do I look orange? Are you referring to your friend and mine, Donald Trump? Um, it is, I mean, I guess it's not that early. Define early morning. It is 8:16 in the morning, Eastern time. Canada's a few different time zones in it. I do not know what up the south means. Now, interesting enough, I am in Windsor, Ontario, and Windsor, as you may or may not know, is the southernmost city in Canada. In fact, we're so far south that America, Detroit, Michigan, is to the north of me. So that's kind of cool. Thank you for this sub person who looks like me, apparently. When I started this stream, or I should say a few months ago, I made this note saying, or this goal, wanting to get over 3,000 subscribers. I am currently at 3,116 subs, so I made it 116 subs over my goal of 3,000 subs. So thank you to everybody who helped make that possible. Justin Lee, I mean, it's hard to provide help or assistance on a YouTube live stream. What I would suggest is, depending on the type of help you need, you speak to proper authorities, I suppose. Um, God bless that lovely lad, O home. Up the south is Republican statement standing for the independence of Ireland. Okay. See, I've never heard that expression before. So thank you for sharing that with me. So I'm guessing then you're from Ireland. I've never had the chance to visit Ireland, but I'd love to get there at some point. It seems like a really beautiful, really cool country. Really, all the Irish people I've met have been really cool and good people. There's a lot of Freemasonry in Ireland as well. So the Grand Lodge of Ireland is a really interesting history. So I'd love to get the chance to visit at some point. Are you from Ireland? Were you born there? Where, whence come you, if you will? When you say worth the time spent there, that makes it sound to me like you didn't live there, but you visited, or you are not from there, but spent some time there. I'm sure it is gorgeous. Everything I hear about it seems like it's a pretty wonderful, beautiful place. We're just going to hang out and wait to see who joins. Please take a moment, hit the like and subscribe button. It's my homeland. Okay. Well, I'm a firm believer that you should always be proud of where you're from and your homeland. So good for you. Well, I'm not a fan of that one, Mr. Works. Even if you're going to say LOL after, let's not be promoting that any type of violence. I when you say London's in a bad way, I was just in London about a month ago. I loved it. I thought the people were incredibly friendly. I thought everybody was super cool, super kind. I loved riding on the tube, despite the fact that it was packed. So I don't know. I mean, how can London be in a bad way when London is literally the home of the very first Grand Lodge and has it located on Queen Street? Okay, if you don't mind my asking, Sile Stia, where are you from now? I don't know what King of the Orcs means. Please hit like and subscribe. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. I am 4 subscribers away from 3,120 subs, so let's help a brother out. Jeez, this is not me. Somebody's cranky. Nothing, these places don't suck. I'm not a fan of, like, I've always said Canada is the greatest country in the world, which I believe that to be the case. But I'm also from Canada. I truly believe that everybody should have respect for the country from which they're from, should consider it the best. But also, we shouldn't disrespect the countries of other people. I hope the age of man is not over. I like the age of man. Um, but if it is, then maybe whatever comes next will be even better. Who knows? You know, we had the age of dinosaurs, then we have the age of man. I'd like to hope it sticks around for a little bit longer. Um, at least that's what I prefer. Kiwi, 184,888 pounds. I don't know what that means, but thank you for being here nonetheless. Just gonna wait to see who else jumps in the chat to say hello. Yes, I got a big forehead. I've grown to accept that about myself. Blue oxygen. I don't think so. I understand, like, you don't decide where you're born. Having said that, I think, I mean, it's no different than, like, being loyal to one's parents. That you didn't pick your parents, but it's possible to recognize and respect the fact that certainly Canada has done a lot for me. I consider myself lucky to be born in Canada. And when you recognize that, that leads to a feeling of gratefulness. And that gratefulness encourages a feeling of loyalty and pride. I mean, this whole idea of vetted and unvetted, I think England, as well as Canada, as well as almost any country, is capable of doing big things, and that includes welcoming and integrating immigrants from around the world. Yeah, but I do think sometimes we have a tendency to, I've even noticed this with Canadians, sometimes have a tendency to forget or ignore all the good things that the country has given them, um, under the argument of like, well, I didn't ask to be born here, right? Um, and that's a Masonic idea as well, this idea of you should be respectful and grateful for the things that your country provides you, and you should be a good citizen of either the country in which you live or the country in which you're traveling and visiting if you are a traveler. I just came from Bogota, Colombia. I was in Scotland before that, and I talked about, like, as somebody who's traveling and a Freemason, I need to be respectful of the country in which I'm visiting, because I'm representing not just myself as an individual, but also Freemasonry as a whole. So I am not, yes, I got a big nose, pork chop, hit like and subscribe. I'm definitely personally not a fan of MAGA nor of Donald Trump. Having said that, I don't think America is done. I think America has demonstrated consistently throughout its history that it's actually pretty capable of, surviving a lot of challenging times, and I think it's going to survive MAGA as well. um, in my humble opinion. That is true. People do have their own different experiences. However, um, I think there can be some consistency between those experiences. Um, hey, how's the tattoo doing? Welcome, 19 Green. The tattoo is doing well. I had to take off the plastic wrap, obviously. Um, I had to take a shower, etc., etc. I don't know how well you can see it, but there you go. Looks it's awkward to show. It looks great. So thank you again, everybody. If you get the chance, um, um, if you get the chance, I hope that you will. Everybody, if you're from Windsor, you're from Southern Ontario, heck, you're from Detroit, you're looking to get a tattoo, consider getting a tattoo at Advanced Tattoo on Olette in Windsor. It's basically downtown Windsor, kind of between, if I recall correctly, University and Park. I think is between the two streets. It's between on the west side of the street. My most recent one. Ow, that was quite the popping of the joints. It is a footpath, which you can kind of see at the side, and then the entrance to King Solomon's Temple. So if you know, you know. I mean, Blue Oxygen, if you're going to be on YouTube, you're going to have to accept the fact that people are going to attack not just your looks, but they're just going to attack whatever they can attack. So if they don't know anything about me and they're just jumping on the stream, they're going to attack the looks because that's what they got to attack. It's the nature of social media. So what are you going to do? Happy holidays. Thank you, Lucas Meller. I hope you're doing well. Happy holidays to you also. It's crazy to think that it's going to be Christmas in what, 3 days, December 22nd? That's nuts. Time absolutely flies. Do you have any plans for the holiday season? Lucas, going to see friends or family for Christmas? Or the holidays? Oh, I think you're not alone in that, Lucas. My bet would be most people still aren't prepared. I think when it comes to holiday season, everybody thinks everybody else is prepared and they're not. So I wouldn't worry about it. It probably helped keep me awake, but no, I'm not going to try real Coke. I'm happy with my pop, that's for sure. Yes, I got a big forehead, Bill Crew. I've grown to accept it. Well, Daryl Dixon, The Walking Dead, you are a fictional character, unless you are referring to whomever is behind the Daryl Dixon picture. In which case, welcome. Thank you for being here. I've been a Freemason myself since 2007. So 20 years, which is crazy to think it's been that long, or just about 20 years. The purpose of this stream is to promote the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. I have no idea what off-brand Fanta is. Sounds delicious. Fair enough. Well, that is true, Daryl Dixon. I'm gonna say something that might get me in a little bit of trouble here on stream. I have never seen a full episode of The Walking Dead. So, I understand it's a cultural phenomenon, blah, blah, blah. I never saw an episode of it. I feel quite bad about that myself. Um, I wonder if there are any Freemasons actually in um, if there are any Freemasons actually in uh, the show, like not fictional characters, but any of the actors or production crew were actually Freemasons. Probably some, I'd be willing to bet, but Kevin Jones, what I am is handsome. That's what I am. And please hit the like and subscribe button. How do you know I'm not the breadwinner? I'm not even married. I have a cat, for heaven's sakes. And then maybe I'm gay, maybe I'm straight. But the point is, for Freemasonry, it doesn't matter. Freemasonry welcomes men who are gay as well as men who are straight. It doesn't discriminate based on sexual orientation. Also, no diss, but nobody. I like my club. Is that not good enough? Right? If I like my club, does that not mean anything? And people don't have to like it. They can like it or they don't have to like it. It's up to them. I'm not suggesting that people have to have the same opinion or the same kind of love of Freemasonry that I do, but rather it's me talking about Freemasonry because I care about it so much. And if others dislike it, that's okay. Um, I am a Freemason. I've been a Freemason since 2007. Freemasonry is not Judaism for Gentiles. Freemasonry is not a religion. Freemasonry welcomes men of all different faiths, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, etc., etc. There are elements of Judaism that Freemasonry borrowed from or paid homage to, but that's also true of Christianity, Islam, Chinese mythology, architecture, Stoic philosophy, etc., etc. I don't believe so, Ashton. Hold on just one second. Let me double check something. There was a time when I thought we might see a return of Freemasonry in Syria after the recent government change. I think it took place like 3 years ago. But according to the AI overview, my initial thought was correct, which is there is a government ban on Freemasonry in Syria, although I guess there is some efforts to revive it under the Grand Eastern Syrian lodges after the Syrian regime's decline. So, for example, as of right now, I don't believe there's any active Masonic lodges in Syria, but there are efforts and a desire to restore it. Um, I mean, I guess it depends how much trust. I guess how do you define trust? I mean, I think to a certain extent you have to trust people at least a little bit. I mean, how could one, for example, drive if you have zero trust in anybody else on the road to obey the rules of the road? Like there's a baseline of trust that is required for societies to function. However, I would think trust but verify is pretty valuable. For example, I trust that the weather person is trying to give me the best forecast, but I'm still going to carry an umbrella on me just in case. That kind of idea. We got hearts. That might be Smokey the Clown is back. Who knows me best? You're the most important person to learn about? Well, There's a lot of different ways to answer that question, but that is a very valid question. I mean, obviously, I think if you are looking at this from a religious perspective, your argument is probably going to be, I just need to get something to drink, that, God knows you best. That would be my assumption. If if you're answering or taking that question from a religious perspective, you'd probably say God. If you're taking that question from a more, I don't want to use the term practical per se, but from a more down to earth question, I would say in some cases your family knows you best, although they can also be biased and look at you with rose-colored glasses. Thank you for showing your love, Smokey. I appreciate that. I don't think any one person knows you best, including yourself. I think what you need to do is rely upon your own judgments of yourself, but also tempered by the observations and judgments of others. And you take everything together, you consider every viewpoint, and you go from there. But I think without question, it's entirely valuable to think about. I mean, I think Freemasonry can help us better understand ourselves as well. So I think you need to keep that in mind also. That was a great laugh. Okay, I mean, what was a great laugh, Bill Crew? Let's give it a bit more time. Let's wait to see who joins. As always, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. We're just going to wait to see who else jumps in the chat to say hello. Hello, Mary Tepper. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you'll consider hitting that like button and subscribe button if you're new. And if you have any thoughts, questions on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. Well, that's a very general question. Tell me more about Freemason. I mean, that's a very broad topic, right? I was talking in the previous stream about the ancients and the moderns and the conflict between the two that existed in the Grand Lodge of England. I do want to keep talking about that, but I want to give it a few more minutes to see who else jumps on. Can you give me a shout out? Mind Score 7 or Mindset Core 7? All right, Mindset Core 7. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Yes, I got a big nose. I've grown to accept it. Please hit like and subscribe. Same thing with you, Mindset Core. I was nice enough to give you a shout out, so the least you can do is like and subscribe. I'm from Canada, born and raised in Winnipeg, currently live in Windsor, Ontario. Canada is the greatest country in the world. Thank you, Reggie Long. Freemasons should have a good work ethic. I appreciate that. Speaking of social media, I hope that you'll consider following me on my social media channels. I have Instagram, I have Twitter, X, Blue Sky. I have the Chinese app as well, which I really enjoy, and YouTube, Facebook. Follow me on all my different social media channels. I would really, really, really appreciate it. Yes, GH1, I have a big nose. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I've grown to accept that about myself. I agree. I love Canada. Greatest country in the world. In part, and I've said this in the past, in part because we have the greatest neighbors in the world. I am not called Gareth. I am called Cameron. My name is Cameron, but Gareth is a great name. So, I'll take it. Well, you can call me anything you want, just don't call me late for dinner. You can call me, my name's Cameron, but this channel is called Square and Compass Promotions. Um, you can also call me a Freemason. So if you're a brother, you can call me, brother as well. If you're a Freemason, then you do that. Um, you do that. My channel, I do have super chats. I do have memberships. I hope you'll consider doing a super chat and doing a membership. And I'm very close to getting fully monetized. Probably by the end of the year, I'll have my 4,000 watch hours. So, yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working this channel. The purpose of this channel is, amongst other things, to turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession. Okay, good for you, Mary Tepper. Yes, Victor, I am a Freemason. I've been a Freemason since 2007, so 20 years, which is absolutely crazy to think it's been that long. Yes, Freemason, which is a member of a club or organization. All right, RMs, it's too early for trolls, that's for sure. I agree, it is fire. I do not drink blood. I do not drink blood, nor do any Freemasons. Someone's been reading or watching way too many conspiracy videos. Good for you. I mean, we all start with zero. We all work our way up, mindset core. So keep up the good work. Keep on trying. And just like you said, you're working on it, which is all you can do. And I have no doubt that you're going to get there. Anybody gets the chance, go check out Mindset Core's YouTube page. What type of stuff do you talk about on your YouTube page, Mindset Core, out of curiosity? Shori, I'm sorry that things are not going well in your life. I mean, I would say don't rely on people on YouTube to say things will be fine, although I'm sure things will be fine. Rather, find people you can talk to. I hope that you do. There's always crisis numbers you can call if you need somebody to talk to and you're, dealing with particularly challenging emotions. 988 in Canada and the United States. Maybe consider contacting a crisis line. Because being a Freemason doesn't mean that you are automatically famous. Anybody who tells you that being a Freemason will make you famous is a myth or a scam or a lie. Being a Freemason isn't about getting rich or famous. It's about trying to make the world a better place, very often quietly. I do not partake in any type of stonemasonry, GH. I can't build anything to save my life or commit any type of, actual craftsmanship. I am not a stonemason. I have great respect for stonemasons, but stonemasons build things literally. We in Freemasonry build things in a metaphorical sense. We either build ourselves or the community in a metaphorical sense. So there you go. Having said that, if you want to help me become famous, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the stream, do a super chat, follow me on social media, all that stuff. I mean, sure. You want to be careful, though. I think we want to remember that, whether someone is famous or not is not the mark of whether they're a good Freemason or, for that matter, a good person. But I mean, Shaquille O'Neal is a Freemason. Brad Paisley is a Freemason. Um, I'm trying to think of other like defined famous Freemasons, like historical figures. Ben Franklin was a Freemason. George Washington, John Wayne. Let's see. I don't think Messi is a Freemason. I could be wrong, but I've never heard that he is. Prince Philip, King Charles's father. Um, those are all kind of the ones I can think of at the top of my head. I don't think Messi's a soccer player, right? I don't think that he's a Freemason. At least I never heard that he is. I don't know of any famous Freemasons who are soccer players. Let's take a look. According to Google, take that for whatever it's worth, Sir Stanley Matthews, Nat Lofthouse, Len Shackleton, and managers Sir Alf Ramsey. I don't think YouTube is led by a Freemason. I've never heard of that. If it was, then maybe they should help a brother out and send me more traffic. Actually, I'm just kidding. One thing we are taught in Freemasonry, and I believe this, is, and I've seen this happen sufficiently, is, your job is your job. Your masonry is your masonry. You should never let one necessarily interfere with the other. That means if, let's say YouTube was led by a Freemason, which I don't believe it is. I've never heard any evidence of that being the case. If YouTube was led by a Freemason, they should not do anything to and they would get in trouble if they did. They should not do anything to kind of push the algorithm towards a Masonic brother who has a YouTube channel. It should be as even, as fair, and as hands-off as possible. Let the audience decide. Don't let Freemasons. Don't let let the audience decide. Let the algorithm decide in a manner as fair as possible. Don't try to tip the scales towards your friends or Masons or anything like that. Good morning, Michael Moore. Yes, but I'm not doing a straight 24-hour stream like I've done in the past. Rather, it's several hours on, then a break, then several more hours on, then a break, etc., etc. So that's what we're doing here. I've already done 2 5-hour streams. Then I took a couple of breaks. I'm going to be taking another break soon and then finishing off early morning. So it's 24 hours in total, but it's spread out over a longer period of time with the breaks. But it's been fun. I was saying I have already achieved well over my goal of 3,000 subs. In fact, over 3,100 subs. I reached the lifetime watch hours of 10,000. So since I started my stream, I've got 10,000 public watch hours in total, and I am well on my way to 4,000 watch hours within the last 12 months, which is how I get the next level of monetization. I'm already monetized in the sense of, um, super chats and memberships, but 4,000 gets me in the realm of page advertisements. So thank you. Well, congratulations to everybody, to yourself as well, because it's thanks to, audience members such as yourself that I've been able to get these stats. Um, I mean, Victor, I'm not really sure what you mean by that question. Why do some people in Freemason have many followers while other people don't? I mean, within Freemasonry, we no individual Freemason. Like, I'm not sure what you mean by that question. There are some Freemasons who I guess are famous. Again, Shaquille O'Neal, and you could argue he has a lot of followers, but he's not famous because he's a Freemason, right? And he's not famous. Um, he's famous for being a basketball player and a superstar. He doesn't have any followers or fans because he's a Freemason. So if you are a Freemason, but also have skills or success in an area outside of Freemasonry, then absolutely it's possible to have a lot of followers. But being a Freemason inherently, in and of itself, is not going to, help you become famous or get followers, either in a social media context or anything else. Of course, Victor. I mean, it sounds to me like you maybe have been seeing some incorrect information on social media, like about the Illuminati. I mean, I would say 99.999% of famous people are not Freemasons. Freemasonry does not guarantee you fame or celebrity. It really is not going to affect whether you're famous or celebrity one way or the other. Anybody who promises you that to be famous, you must first be a Freemason is scamming you. Just keep that in mind. Freemasonry does not guarantee wealth, nor does it guarantee fame, nor does it guarantee riches, etc., etc. But yeah, I mean, again, most famous people are not Freemasons, the vast, vast majority. And that's always been the case. Even when Freemasonry was very ubiquitous, um, still the vast majority of famous people were not Freemasons. Why did I join? I joined, well, so there's two ways to answer that question, and both are very important. There's why did I join and why did I remain active? Because the reason somebody joins and the reasons that somebody remains active are going to be very different, right? They change over time. I joined because my dad is a Freemason and I grew up with it, and I always assumed at some point I would join. I remained active in a Freemason because ultimately there's something about Freemasonry that speaks to me. And that doesn't have anything to do with Freemasonry and everything to do with me. The example I always give is it's like your favorite song, right? My favorite song is Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. Some people will hear that song and love it. Some people will hear that song and think it's just okay. Some people may hear that song and hate it. Ultimately, it's not about the song. It's about me, what was happening in my life, my personality, my experiences, and all these other things that led to me being the person I am, who then fell in love with the song. Freemasonry is the same thing. For whatever reason, and this is a personal thing, after I joined Freemasonry and became active, there's something about it, the ritual, the history, the symbolism, that spoke to me and caused me to fall in love with it. Other people I know have joined, and for whatever reason, they just did not have the same feelings. towards it, and that's perfectly fine. But there is something unique to me that responds to Freemasonry. It's kind of like asking the question, like, why do you like the things that you like? Like, why do you like your favorite song? You can say it's the lyrics, but other people could hear the lyrics and think they're terrible. You could say it's the melody, but other people could hear the melody and think it's terrible. It's much less about the song itself and much more about the individual's relationship with the song. And in the same way, there are a million ways to get the benefits from Freemasonry from other organizations. You can become an odd fellow. You can join a knitting club. There's a million ways you can do it. But for whatever reason, Freemasonry speaks to me and my personality in a way that other groups haven't in the past, and I don't think will in the future. Yeah, welcome, Odd Fellow. First of all, welcome, Odd Fellow from Maine. I really want to visit Maine. It's 100% on my list of places I'd love to visit, both to see Masons there and because I love Stephen King. I'm sure you get sick of that. Um, I've known many Odd Fellows. They've all been Odd Fellows, but they've all been awesome people as well. It's 8:56 here, but yes, Balls, it is crazy early. Good morning, Mario knows it's God. Victor, so Freemasonry and the Illuminati are not the same thing. The Illuminati was started several decades after Freemasonry. It was started by a gentleman named Adam Weishaupt. It was almost started in some ways as a anti-Masonic group. But really, since the early 19th and 20th centuries, the Illuminati really is not an issue, or has not been relevant in any meaningful way, for whatever it's worth. You are correct, James Park. We're not even, I mean, we evolved from a fraternity of, the Illuminati started 1777. Freemasonry started as a fraternity of tradesmen, but now we have members who are tradesmen as well as they work white collar jobs, um, blue collar, sometimes they can be on disability or unemployed. Like it's not related to profession anymore, except in a symbolic sense. And it is also not a cult of Jewish people. Freemasonry is not a cult, nor is it Jewish. Freemasonry welcomes Jewish members, but it also welcomes Muslim, Christian, etc., etc. Well, there is no the secret in Freemasonry. There are private elements, usually called modes of recognition. And my dad never told me. I joined. But he didn't have to tell me because I knew the true secret of Freemasonry is not a secret at all, which is that we as Freemasons try to build a better world through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. That is something I learned from him. Yes, cults are way different, but there is no such thing as the Masonic secret. Anybody who tells you they know the secret is being fed false information. That's not what it is or what it's about. I mean, so Bard Clay, yes. I mean, I would say what you used to know is more correct. I've said in the past on this stream that Freemasonry, that there are two great Enlightenment era experiments that still exist in 2025. The first and the greatest is America. The second is Freemasonry. I would say, though, allowing people to join Freemasonry in some ways is an Enlightenment era, um, is based on the Enlightenment, because certainly one of the founding kind of or main ideas of the Enlightenment era was, in fact, tolerance, welcoming people, etc., etc. No, just desserts. Freemasonry does not mean that at all. Freemasonry is not political in any sense. I mean, I've known many Freemasons who would be supportive of Israel and many Freemasons who are not. At least the government of Israel. That's a political decision, and that's up to each individual Mason to decide for himself. Or herself. There's also the Order of Women Freemasons. But no, just desserts, that's not what it means. What it does mean is you should hit the like and subscribe button, though, which would be incredibly kind of you and help me get towards 3,120 subs. Because I'm currently at 3,119. I do not know what a racing John as a job career is. I have no clue what that means. It does touch on Kabbalistic teachings, but not exclusively. It also touches on teachings from architecture. It also touches on Stoic philosophy teachings. It also touches on Egyptian mysticism. The thing you need to keep in mind and remember about Freemasonry is it really, when developing its rituals and its symbols and its ceremonies, it really borrowed or paid homage or stole ideas, thoughts, philosophies from all sorts of different religions, philosophies, schools. Primarily what it took from, though, is stone masonry or craftsman guilds and architecture. I mean, pillars and columns are huge symbols within Freemasonry, certainly an emulation ritual. So it borrowed quite heavily from architecture and architectural designs and architectural understandings. I don't think America is going to, quote unquote, be the end of anything. Well, luckily, Freemasonry does not bar women. There's the Order of Women Freemasons. In fact, women have been Freemasons for longer than they had the right to vote. There's also Eastern Star. There's also Rainbow. There's also Co-Masonry out of France. I mean, if you want to get a job being, a race car driver, for example, if that's what you mean by racing job, then more power to you. Takes a lot of skill and ability to be a race car driver. I can't imagine how hard it is, but more power to you. Well, it depends where you're at, K Meeks. I've been to many jurisdictions, like, for example, in Michigan. It's also the case in Israel, to my knowledge. One of my favorite things about going there is on the centerpiece, on an altar in the middle of the room, you have a Bible, a Quran, and a Torah. And they will decide which one is to be opened. Sometimes they'll open all three. In Ontario, it's usually just a Bible, although if you have a Mason joining of a different, who, let's say his faith is the Quran, he may put a Quran on there. I've even seen eagle feathers used for First Nations brothers. They are barred from the fraternal stated meetings. But again, if you go to the Order of Women Freemasons, I'm barred from attending their meetings because it's a women exclusive space. Or, women identifying. If you want to, obviously there's trans women as well. The point is, a woman Freemason is as much a part of my Masonic family as a brother. But Freemasonry, there is a value in having a space for men and a space for women. It's no different than having a guy's night out or a ladies' night out, right? It's ultimately very similar in goal, in purpose, in design, in plan, etc., etc. So what I would say is it might be worth for you, Bard Clay, looking more into the history of the Order of Women Freemasons, including checking out my episode I did with Jennifer Newell about the Order of Women Freemasons. Well, I don't think, again, I think, look, I do think we in Freemasonry Brother Michael. I think one of the biggest mistakes that Freemasons made is for years, and this is also UGLE, we really ignored the Order of Women Freemasons and Eastern Star and didn't, give them the respect they deserve as being part of the Masonic family. Having said that, I do think there is a great value to having spaces for men to be together, and spaces for women to be together separate. Um, because again, there's a reason why throughout history, probably even before Freemasonry existed, you had, guys' nights out. There needs to be a space for men to be Freemasons, for men to be with other men. I think that's a very positive thing. Fraternity is a very positive thing. Sorry, Burrs Manilar. What I would suggest is Google United Grand Lodge of England, Order of Women Freemasons. Or you can even check out the Grand Lodge of England's most recent statement regarding the Metropolitan Police's decision to make Freemasonry a declarable association and see what they have to say about women Freemasons. Because actually, one thing that they said, so the Metropolitan Police in the United Kingdom just came out with a decision saying that if you're a Freemason in London, you need to declare that you're a Freemason. And one of the justifications, they claimed that the reason they did that is because women couldn't be Freemasons and they were feeling excluded. And the United Grand Lodge of England and the Order of Women Freemasons put out a statement saying women have been Freemasons for longer than they've had the right to vote. Well, you can live by your oaths and you can live by whatever oaths you so choose, or that you're a Freemason. Every jurisdiction is different. Every oath is a little bit different. My view on it is, my lodge is fraternal. If a woman were to ask to join my Masonic lodge, I would say, right, you can't join this lodge. It's fraternal. However, you can join the Order of Women Freemasons. And in fact, many Order of Women Freemasons meet in Masonic lodges here in Ontario. So it's possible to both recognize the Order of Women Freemasons, consider them a valuable part of the craft and a valuable part of my Masonic family, while also recognizing that it's a separate order, a separate organization from, AF and AM, for example. Well, Eastern Star is another excellent organization. It's another wonderful part of the Masonic family. The issue, though, with Eastern Star, and this has changed, I know. And when I say issue, look, I love Eastern Star. The fact that for so long they made it exclusive to women who had a familial connection to Freemasons, like daughter, mother, sister, wife, I think that ultimately did them no favors. So yeah, I think there are a lot of women who wanted to have a Masonic connection. In many cases, they may have gone through Rainbow, but then could not join the Eastern Star for years and years. So to me, like, and again, Order of Women Freemasons, it's existed in the United Kingdom since before women had the right to vote. They're both excellent orders. They're both excellent organizations. I have nothing but respect for both of them. Um, Bard Clay, I would say, I mean, you can have your own opinion and you're more than welcome to, but what I would say is from a historical perspective, at least, the truth is, there's always been a desire amongst both men and women to have exclusive, not even spaces, but exclusive times when it's just them. It's a fraternity, it's a sorority. That's human nature. And that's, so, and I do think it's valuable. I do really enjoy having a time where I can gather with my brothers, and they are my brothers. So you can disagree, that's fine. What I would suggest is either maybe Freemasonry is not right for you, or You can join or look at joining co-masonry, which is very prevalent in France, for example, which is lodges of both men and women, or even liberal lodges. The biggest thing to keep in mind is there is no single idea as to what Freemasonry is. Freemasonry, I mean, even something like Memphis Mizraim, a lot of Masons in North America will say that Memphis Mizraim is not Freemasonry. However, it is recognized and very active in Europe. The Grand Orient of France is not recognized by my lodge, but that doesn't mean it's not a valid form of Freemasonry. Everybody kind of figures it out for themselves, what Freemasonry is to them based on what they join. Um, Sorry, Bard Clay, I disagree with you. It is absolutely human nature to desire times when you're with your brothers and with men exclusively, and times when you want to be with everybody. I think it's human nature based on historical, all the evidence I've seen. Men have been developing fraternities for millennia, and women have been developing sororities for millennia as well. I wouldn't agree with that. I've known some women who could absolutely be construction workers and would crush me and are 10 times stronger than me. Um, I believe blue collar, it should be who is most qualified for the job. But Freemasonry is not a job. It's a very different thing. It's a very different thing than a job. I'm trying to turn Freemasonry into a profession, but I'm working on it. I don't know if I'm succeeding, but I'm trying my best. You can help me turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession by hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and considering doing a super chat. Sorry, Mystical. That might be true in a general sense, but in a specific sense, I've known a lot of women who could absolutely kick my ass and who are stronger than me, who have more stamina than me, and who are terrifying. So, not terrifying like I think they're going to beat me up, but terrifying in that they 100% could beat me up. So, you know, I would disagree with you on that strongly. Yeah, I mean, whether you are a man or a woman, ultimately, when it comes to the job site and to work, it's your own personal, in my experience, work ethic and desire to, to do a good job, much more so than anything else. Um, I don't have a mother-in-law. I have a cat. I don't have a wife. I have a cat. So, but yeah, I'm sure if I ever get a mother-in-law, if I ever get a poor woman who can put up with me for, more than a few hours at a time, because I'm sure that they'll have a very tough mother-in-law. Men do make better mothers than women. No, they do not. Well, I mean, I get the argument that they have different skills and abilities. But I think we're kind of getting off topic a little bit. The point is, it's more about the person and the work ethic and what's on the inside, much more so than the biological kind of situation, right? Because again, I've known some absolutely tough as nails women. I mean, I'm a man and I'm a wuss compared to a lot of women I know, right? Like in I trained in professional wrestling. I know I met some women who you would not want to get into a fight with them, believe me. As well as I trained MMA. Same thing, I've known some women who could absolutely destroy the average guy. Now, if the average guy and the average woman both train, it might be different, but I've known plenty of women who could easily beat up a bigger guy because of their training. Um, Sorry, what was the Freemason thing? That he was a Freemason? That's a good question. But honestly, I honestly can't even think, I don't necessarily think I know the answer. I always knew. So I don't remember when he first told me. Because I remember as a kid going to Masonic lodges for Christmas parties and stuff. Um, I mean, one story I've told before, and I've told it in lodge and outside of lodge, but within Freemasonry, you have to memorize things a lot. That's a really important part of being a Freemason is memorization. Um, and my dad worked day shift, so he would wake up at like 6 in the morning, and he would have breakfast, then he'd go to work. And I remember my bedroom was at the end of a hall, and he would sit in the kitchen and, eat his breakfast, and I would hear him talking to himself. So I'm thinking to myself, geez, is my dad crazy? He was actually memorizing his Masonic ritual. But I didn't know that at the time. I was just a kid. But the point is, I don't remember when he told me. I just always kind of knew. Well, you shouldn't be lying about your atheism. Um, right? I mean, even if your wife, like, starting any journey with a lie is probably not a healthy approach to take. I would say is consider looking at the liberal orders of Freemasonry. Um, which again, I consider them part of my Masonic family. That doesn't mean I can meet with them in their lodges, nor does it mean they could meet in my lodges. But what it does mean is they're welcome to be a part of like I can consider them a brother, just one where I can't attend their lodge. Yes. And actually, when I was in Bogota, Colombia, I met with a whole bunch of different Masons, had coffee with them. One of them was actually part of a liberal lodge. So he was part of a lodge that both allowed atheists and um, women. Now, obviously, I couldn't attend his meeting, but I could hang out with him for a coffee and talk to him and learn more about his Masonic journey. Um, Yeah, it depends where you're at. It's very popular in France. It's very popular in South America, as is all of Freemasonry in South America. Less so in the United States. I know it exists in the United States. I think, for example, I heard about a few lodges in Indianapolis, or in Indiana, I should say, but I don't know the specifics as to how big it is. Um, did I tell my friends at school? I don't think I did. But it never really would have come up. Like we weren't, especially when I was younger, we weren't really talking about what our parents were up to. We were too busy trying to figure out how to sneak out of school and not do our homework. Not that I would ever do such a thing or recommend such a thing. If you're watching this and if you're in school, don't sneak out of school. Don't, do not sneak out of school. Do not uh, do your homework. Don't listen to Cameron, for the record. But I don't know when the conversation would have come up. I can't imagine myself going around and telling people, like, my dad's a Freemason. That is absolutely how a lot of lodges formed, both regular and irregular, both the liberal order and the regular order. I mean, it's a lot of work. You got to contact the Grand Lodge, wherever it is. You got to request a charter. I have no idea what the process would be like for a regular lodge, but there is a process. We do not, Victor. I've never sacrificed anything. I've never sacrificed people, nor animals, nor anything else. The one thing that I as a Freemason sacrifice is my time. And again, that's a personal choice. But we definitely sacrifice our time for it. At least me and Michael. Other Masons, they join once, you never see them again, but they keep paying their dues. So in that case, they're just sacrificing, a few $100s per year as part of their dues, however expensive those dues may be. Although honestly, it probably make the It'd probably make the lodge meetings more interesting and more exciting if we were, engaging in sacrifices. However, I'm not sure if that's one of those things where do I really want lodges to be that interesting? I feel like, however interesting a sacrifice is, it would be, countered by how absolutely annoying and frustrating it would be to have to constantly clean my suit. Freemasonry is already incredibly expensive in terms of how much money you're spending on dry cleaners for your suits, at least when there's a dress code. Can you imagine having to deal with blood as well? That'd be a nightmare. And the carpets, oh my gosh, cleaning the carpets. Jeez Louise. What a pain that would be. Do people have tattoo? I mean, people get Masonic tattoos. I've got a ton of Masonic tattoos. Me and my friends every year go and get tattoos together. I'm hoping next year Michael Moore will join us. This is my most recent tattoo. I got this 2 days ago at Advanced Tattoo on Olet. Everybody should go there if you can. The battle goes, yes, I'm doing a 24-hour stream, but different than normal in that normally I would do 24 hours straight. This time I'm doing several hours, like 5 hours at a time, then taking a break, then another 5 hours and taking a break, then another 5 hours and taking a break. Um, Till I get to the 24. I am going to be taking another break soon for the record. But this stream has been wonderful. The battle has been excellent. I've made it to 3,119 subs. Um, Please hit the subscribe button if you're new. Help me get to 3,120. I've also got over 10,000 lifetime community watch hours. And I've got very close to 4,000 watch hours over the last 12 months. We do not do evil, Victor. We, Freemasonry does not do evil. Freemasonry, in a variety of ways, does good, or at least tries to do good. Robert, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for your idea. I still don't think it'd be worth it. I still think it would be too much of a pain. So no sacrifice. No sacrifices. I mean, you could put down like plastic tarps, but even that would be such a pain to deal with. We are getting close to the next break point, in fairness. I mean, there's 850,000 Freemasons in the United States. Victor, every Freemason will have a different answer to that question, or at least a different understanding, because every Freemason, like Freemasonry is not a religion. So it's not about praising the Lord or praising a Lord. Rather, if you're a Christian Freemason, you will praise Jesus or praise the Christian faith. If you're Muslim, if you're Jewish, whatever your faith is, that is where you will direct your praise. Freemasonry is not a religion, right? We have kind of this idea of the great architect or our supreme being, but every Freemason has his own interpretation or understanding of what that is based on his or her religious beliefs. It's just about believing in a supreme being. We do not praise the devil. Freemasonry is not about praise of any religious entities. That's a term you often hear used. Yes, but when a Freemason refers to a grand architect or the grand architect, again, if he is, let's say, Christian, he will likely be thinking of grand architect in a Christian context. If he is Muslim, he'll be thinking of grand architect in a Muslim context. Yes, I know it looked like Mad Magazine. Please hit like and subscribe in honor of Mad Magazine. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody's having a great day. Please take a moment. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm having a wonderful time talking about Freemasonry. I'm going to be taking a break soon, and then we'll be in the home stretch and the last of the streams in this 24-hour period. It is not, Victor. It's not a cult, nor is it praising the devil, nor is it praising any particular deity or religious figure. But I've never met any Freemason who praises the devil, just for the record. Um, That is true. I mean, if you had the financial gains, a lot of people would be joining Freemasonry, but we wouldn't want them to, right? If somebody were joining Freemasonry based on a desire for financial gains, I don't think Freemasonry would survive long term because people would be joining for like mercenary reasons, not out of a genuine desire for a desire to build a better world or to build themselves or make themselves better. And the danger of that is it's actually a real thing that happens. It's called the over justification principle. If you join Freemasonry to get rich, maybe you get a one-time payment, that's fine, except suddenly, you know, that one-time payment isn't enough. You need to give them another payment. They need to get richer. The problem is if you're joining Freemasonry out of a desire for an external award or external benefit, money, fame, success, even if Freemasonry could provide you with that stuff, which it can't, it's not going to be a long-term sustainable solution because sooner or later you're going to be in this boat where you need to give them more. You need to give them more. You need to more fame, more money. Freemasonry can't operate on under that. Thank you, James Parker. Please hit like and subscribe. Dad, what did you have for breakfast? Every Mason needs to decide what the purpose is for himself or herself, Victor. For me, the purpose of Freemasonry is the belief that the world can be made better through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. Others would say it's to make good men better. Others might say it's brotherly love, relief, and truth. The beautiful thing about Freemasonry is there's a shared experience, but individual interpretations and individual purposes. Some join and their purpose is as simple as meeting new people and making friends, which is a wonderful reason to join also. I don't necessarily believe that there's an ultimate purpose within Freemasonry, for the record. I can tell you the purpose of this stream is to promote the ways in which Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. No, Albie take, I would not. We are taught in Freemasonry, and this actually goes back centuries to the Regius Poem, to the Anderson Constitutions. We in Freemasonry are taught that if we know of a brother who is committing a felony, either we witness it or we learn of it, we are to inform the authorities. We are not to allow kind of the secret to remain. That's not what Freemasonry is all about. A Freemason is a member of a Masonic lodge, a member of a club. So for me, I mean, so if I see a Mason speeding, then yeah, I'm not going to worry about calling the police. But if I see a Mason committing a murder, then yes, I'm informing the police immediately. There is no single reason why people join, Victor. Everybody joins for a different reason. Some join to be closer to family, some join to make new friends. I know, for example, oftentimes Freemasonry is very popular amongst immigrants to a new country because they wanted to find a way to meet people. Some join to develop confidence. They want to develop skills and things like memorization. Some join um, because they are interested in the idea of history and historical groups. That's true. You shouldn't speed. Having said that, back when I used to drive, I got a couple speeding tickets. I guess my point is, not saying you should. I guess my point is within Freemasonry, within just life, day to day life, we all kind of have these decisions to make. But as a rule, if somebody's committing a felony, we as Freemasons should inform the police. Um, Things change. Things absolutely change over time. Um, I can say when I joined Freemasonry in 2007, there were supposedly 48,000 Freemasons in Ontario. As of 2024, there existed 28,500. So the point is, if we don't start making some significant changes to how we approach Freemasonry, the numbers are going to keep on declining. So how initiations work, that's not something I talk about, Victor, for a couple reasons. But one of the reasons is if I were to tell people about my initiation, it's like giving a spoiler. The consequences of it is they're going to enjoy their initiation less so. But also, every initiation experience is different based on where you're at in your jurisdiction. If you're in, let's say, Texas, the ceremony is different than if you're in Ontario. So if I tell you what to expect, you're going to go into it with a preconceived notion and you're not going to enjoy the initiation or pay attention. You're going to be too focused on what you think should be happening and not what is happening. So what I will always say when people ask me about the initiation is there's nothing in any Masonic initiation that is contrary to your civic, religious, or other responsibilities, nor is there anything illegal or dangerous. Beyond that, it's kind of like a leap of faith. You got to join. And you got to be willing to take that leap of faith. Dream Seeker, he joined in Canada. I know that. Yes, which is fine. Again, a lot of people knock AI, and I can understand why or are afraid of it. But let's face it, as somebody who, is Canadian, was born in 1983, technology has been nothing but good to me. Were it not for technology, my life would be very, very, very different. My wheelchair is a type of technology which 100 years ago might have been considered witchcraft. So keep that in mind. Maybe it's also because I grew up with Star Trek, The Next Generation. I've always been kind of pro-technology. I think, yes, there are challenges to it. There's always going to be challenges to it. But, if I have a disease, I'm very happy for modern technology to fight the disease. I'm very happy for modern technology in dentistry. I don't want to have a cavity in 1150. I'd rather have a cavity in 2025. So I think we should be a little bit more positive towards a little bit more positive and a little bit more respectful of technology and not maybe so afraid of it. AI is going to be the future. I absolutely agree with you in that one. I think AI I don't think it's going to be the future. I think it's going to be a part of the future without question. Life is the realist. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I am at 3,119 subs, almost at 3,120. Help a brother out. Um, Share the stream, etc., etc. Yes, I grew up in Star Trek Next Generation, which was always kind of, I mean, Star Trek in general has always been a very pro technology television franchise. And I do believe that technology can absolutely help make the world a better place and make our lives better. I'm not a pastor, that's for sure. Um, Freemasonry has chaplains as one of the offices, but that's not the same as being a pastor. And no, I did not sell my soul. Freemasonry does not require you to sell anything, including one's soul. I mean, concerned because of the practical, like, to me, inserting a chip in your brain, like, I don't know what the technology's at. Obviously, it seems to me that there's certain dangers, especially in terms of hardware upgrades, right? Like software upgrades, you could probably do that the same way I upgrade my phone. But let's say you want to upgrade the hardware, add a new part, add a new component. If the chip is actually inserted in your brain, it seems like it would be very difficult to add a hardware update. Whereas if it's something that somehow links to your brain without needing hard technology, it seems better. But again, I've heard and I saw some really interesting research on Neuralink as something that, will help paralyzed people walk again or have feeling in their limbs again. So with that in mind, like I said, I'm pro technology, and that would include Neuralink. I don't know if I'd want to be the first one to get it, but I would, be happy to see how it goes. Well, I mean, you should contact other police officers if that's the case, Gooey. Please take a moment. If you're joining us, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We are well on our way to 4,000 watch hours in the last 12 months. And I am over 10,000 lifetime watch hours. So what an honor. Reaching a lot of goals here in 2025. And that's thanks to all of you. We're going to give it another probably 5 minutes. Then I'm going to take probably my last break. Again, I'm not doing these straight through like I was in the past. I'm taking breaks, which does mean it'll last maybe a little bit longer. However, it also means, I get breaks, I'm more fresh, and it also gives the audience a chance to find me on a few different occasions or different members of the audience. But I didn't get a chance to finish my discussion on the ancients and the modern, which again is a very important part of the Masonic history. We got to the point where external and internal pressures both were leading to the beginning of movements to bring the ancients and the moderns together into a single unit, which really started in 1811 and finished in 1813. Even earlier, though, than that, in October 1809, the ancients and the moderns set up a special lodge of promulgation whose brief was to ascertain that their ceremonies were in accord with those practiced in Ireland, Scotland, and lodges overseas. But really, that was a public reason. The private reason was a desire to ensure that they were in support, connected with, close to each other's ceremonies to make rejoining or reunification or unification even easy and possible. Um, right? As somebody wrote, that a Masonic union of the Grand Lodges, the ancients and the moderns, under the present Grand Masters, HRH, the Prince of Wales, and His Grace, the Duke of Atholl, on principles equal and honorable to both Grand Lodges, and preserving inviolate the landmarks of the ancient craft, would be, in the opinion of this Grand Lodge, expedient and advantageous to both. And I think history has shown that the merging of the ancients and the moderns into a single lodge was indeed advantageous and expedient to both. Oh, sorry, I missed a whole bunch of questions. Sorry about that. For some reason, it wasn't coming through. Um, I 666 is not a number that is has anything to do with Freemasonry. I've never heard it come up. I don't like nukes, but I like nuclear energy. I think technology has both positives and negatives depending on how it's used. But I think if we're too afraid of the negatives, we will not get the positives. Amanda. By the way, Amanda, please hit like and subscribe. I do believe in a higher power, Amanda. I'm a Freemason, so I am to believe in a supreme being. Um, Masons, in my experience, most Masons are not wealthy. And also, in my experience, most Masons do not have multiple wives. Gooey, your information is incorrect. Amanda Adam. I don't know what your name is. Adam Android. Adam Android. Do you prefer US Freemasonry or European Masonry? I don't know if I'd say prefer. I don't like the term. Um, Even US versus European Freemasonry, that's not really a distinction. You'd be better thinking about things in terms of York Rite or emulation or Preston Webb. I think they're all beautiful in their way. I think one of the best things that you can do for Freemasonry, for your Masonic career, for your Masonic understanding of the world and what Freemasonry is visit lodges that practice different types of ritual, whether it be state by state or country by country. And in the process of traveling and visiting and listening to different rituals, you will gain a beautiful new perspective on the craft. Every time you hear ritual performed in a different lodge, you gain a new perspective on the ritual. But because it's how I was initiated, passed, and raised, emulation ritual, which would be UGLE, which would be, you could argue, defined as European, will always have a special place in my heart. James Parker, yes, I love the Simpsons Stonecutter episode. Not that tired, Linking Atlas. I'm doing okay. Yes, Scottish Rite is a path, Adam. So is Swedish Rite. Um, I mean, I will say John Stamos is a pretty great supreme being. I would not, as a child of the 90s, I will not knock anybody's supreme being if it is John Stamos. Though I don't know what volume of the Sacred Law you would use. A DVD copy of Full House, I suppose. Oh yeah, Freemasonry, Adam Android is very popular in Japan, to my knowledge. It is in China, primarily it's in Hong Kong and Macau. It's been there for a long time. There's also Chinese Freemasonry, which is actually around the world, including in British Columbia. It's quite prevalent. It's kind of its own right or its own path within Freemasonry. But absolutely, it has made it there. Um, Freemasonry, they say, is outlawed in mainland China, but to my knowledge, there are some Masons or lodges operating kind of underground, I think. Um, it is absolutely vague for a reason. Well, the basis of Freemasonry, I mean, when you say basis, you mean base, is stonemasonry. It's the stone Masonic guilds of the Middle Ages. I mean, I at least can say I'm not secretive about Freemasonry. There are elements of Freemasonry I keep private, but that's not out of a desire to keep some type of special secret. It's out of a desire to maintain the bonds of brotherhood through shared experiences. If I start talking about my shared experiences with everybody on stream, the consequence is the bonds of brotherhood are reduced between the brothers. But the basis, at its most core element, Doug Dillner, the basis of Freemasonry is the same as the basis of any group or club, a desire to belong to something greater than oneself, to be part of a group. Doug Dillner, hit the like and subscribe. Adam Android, hit like and subscribe, etc., etc. And thank y'all for being here. I'm going to take my next break. I will be back on one more time for the remainder of the 24-hour live stream. I also have to do a bunch of work. And it's hard to do work while live streaming. But hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for all of your help in helping me turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession. You are welcome, Adam. I'll be back on one more time. Don't worry, we're going to keep things going. We're going to keep this going. Like I said, this is a 24-hour live stream with a little bit of an exception. We're not doing the straight 24. We're taking breaks every few hours, approximately every 5 hours in. We are at the next approximate 5 hour mark. So let's get some rest. I'll be back soon. Andrew Garcia, thank you for being here as well. Things are good. I will talk to everybody soon. Have a great, great few hours. I'll see you all. Let's assume for the time being, I'll be back on around noon Eastern. So in approximately 2 hours. All right, guys, I'll talk to y'all soon. All right, see you in a bit, Brother Michael Moore.